Rome, nearly 2,000 years ago. A frightened young man hides in the darkness of a forgotten wine cellar. His hands shake as he holds a vial of poison, his only escape from what awaits him. This is not a common thief. This is Sporus, once paraded as the Empress of Rome, now hunted like an animal. What drove him here? To understand, we must travel back 3 years, when an emperor's grief and madness turned a teenage boy into the ghost of a dead woman. In 65 AD, Nero, the ruler of the known world, crossed a line even Rome's blood-soaked history had rarely seen. In a fit of rage, he struck his pregnant wife, Poppaea Sabina, until life slipped away. The woman he claimed to worship, the muse he called divine, lay dead on the cold marble. And from that moment, grief twisted into something darker. For a man raised to believe he was godlike, death was not an ending. It was an insult. Nero refused to let go. He ordered her body embalmed, placed in a crystal coffin, dressed in her finest gowns. He dined beside her, spoke to her as if she still advised him, and demanded poets capture her beauty in words no marble or paint could ever hold. He saw her face everywhere, in slaves, in noble women, even in strangers on the street. His grief became a fever, a fracture in his mind that no empire could contain. Then, one ordinary day, fate, or madness, delivered him what he thought he had lost. A boy no older than 15 stood before him, a freedman named Sporus. He had the same wide, glowing eyes as Poppaea, the same tilt of the head, the same golden flecks in his gaze. Nero froze, and in that moment, Sporus ceased to exist. To Nero, he was no boy, he was resurrection. From that day forward, Sporus lived not as himself, but as a canvas. Nero dressed him in Poppaea's silks, painted his face with her cosmetics, trained his voice to echo her laughter. He was forbidden to speak his own name. Servants called him lady or mistress. And when the emperor whispered of the surgery to come, Sporus finally understood. He would not only play the role of a dead woman, his body would be carved into her likeness. The surgery was brutal. His screams echoed through palace corridors. But to Nero, this was not torture, it was rebirth. He promised Sporus a new life, sliding Poppaea's wedding ring onto the boy's trembling hand. And when the agony ended, months later, Sporus emerged scarred, reshaped, and trapped. Nero had not just stolen his body, he had stolen his very existence. 6 months later, the impossible became public. Rome gathered for a wedding. Sporus, once a boy, now stood veiled as the new empress. The rituals were performed, the vows spoken, the feast prepared with music and dancing. And though everyone present knew this union was a grotesque performance, they applauded, they smiled, they cheered, because survival in Rome meant bowing to madness. For the next 2 years, Sporus lived a waking nightmare. He was paraded through theaters, temples, and races, always as Poppaea reborn. He presided over ceremonies, wore her gowns, spoke her words, even laughed as she once had. Every day he performed, every night he obeyed, until his own identity blurred into nothing. He was no longer Sporus. He was a shadow of a dead empress. When Nero finally fell, Sporus was abandoned, trapped between emperors who saw him as a living joke, a symbol of cruelty too grotesque to be forgotten. Faced with the humiliation of being displayed in the arena, mocked and tortured before the crowd, Sporus made his choice. Alone in the cellar, with trembling hands, he lifted the poison to his lips. And so ended the life of the boy who had once been emperor's bride. A boy who had been stolen, reshaped, and erased, all for the grief of a madman. Sleep now, for history keeps its darkest secrets alive in whispers. Good night.